Hello, right now we're going to speak about the playing pieces that you'll see in the counter-attack box. So down here we have what's more or less going to be the finalised design of the playing pieces. They fit the bill on many aspects. Number one is they're a good height to grasp, so you can pick them up and move them quite easily without knocking them over. They fit nicely within the hexes, and the pitch is covered in hundreds of hexes. And if I were to make larger playing pieces, then of course I would have to make a larger pitch, because the pitch has been designed perfectly in terms of how players move, how frequently they might be tackled and so on. And right now with these prototypes, we can see that we've hand stenciled some numbers onto them. They're going to look a lot more polished than this when they're finished, obviously. We can decide on the colour of the piece and then we can print on the top. And in terms of what can be printed, here's an example of the type of thing that can be printed on a piece of wood like this. Don't worry, your playing pieces will not be little penguins, but it gives you an idea of the sort of complexity and detail that you can put onto playing pieces and give you a sense of scale. They're more or less the same sort of surface area there. I want to talk you through some stuff we've tried before that failed. So originally we tried these little fellas. These are called meeple. If you're new to the board game world, that's what they're called, meeple, and they're kind of ungainly looking chaps. You place them on the board there and they kind of fill a space nicely. They're not so large that you might knock them over, but they're a bit ugly, and whilst they do look like people and that's nice, you can put numbers on the backs and you can put number on both sides, I guess, and you can print on both sides, but I ultimately decided they were a little bit ungainly. And more than anything else, they're difficult to see the number at all times when it's not printed on the top of the playing piece, because that's what's crucial about these fellas. You can always see the number. So this exact problem was a failing with these type pieces too. You might see there's a plastic base here and a piece of cardboard slotted inside. Now this is a horribly hand-drawn piece, and of course this was just for a prototype. One night I sat and I coloured these little fellas in. Horribly hand-drawn, number on one side, large, like it was the back of a jersey, and a smaller number on the front. Ultimately it didn't work, and these pieces don't work for a couple of reasons. One is they're dead easy to knock over, honestly, there you are. And secondly, more importantly, they're hard to see the number. Like for example there, you cannot see that player number, and as I said, it's crucial in counter-attack. You can always see the number on the player's jersey. Here's something interesting we played around with, square counters. The square counters of the same sort of height to the round ones, has all the benefits of the round one in that you can put the number on top. And here is a snazzy little hand-drawn strip that I've put onto these chaps. And of course you could do any design on these, you can print all around them, and that's absolutely fine. So they've got many benefits to them too. But ultimately, I decided that the round counters were more fitting for a football game, and that's for a couple of reasons. One is that that's what you tend to see on football tactics boards, is round markers. And secondly, popular football computer games tend to represent the players as little round pieces as well. And so I felt that round pieces were more in keeping with the theme of the game than square ones like this. What about the ball? Well, the ball that we're going to use for counter-attack is this one here. I think that fits. Hang on, that's not the right ball. It's this something more along this sort of size, so a little bit smaller than a player piece, and the ball in counter-attack always sits on top of the player, like this, so that you can carry the ball with you as you dribble. And I want the ball to be slightly smaller than the player pieces, simply to differentiate between the two. We have seen the evolution of the counters. We know what the size and shape is going to be. What about the design? What's going to be printed on these counters? Well, you'll have seen this on the Kickstarter page already, that every box of counter-attack will come with the same two teams. There's a black and white team here, and there's the red and white team here, a sort of Juventus style and an Ajax style. So every single box of counter-attack will come with these two teams. But there are options for other teams, and some people have been purchasing that option. And if we look over here, again, it'll be familiar to everyone who's looked at the page on Kickstarter, that there are 7 different choices here. So numbers 1 and 2 come as standard, and if you've bought the option to have an additional 2 teams, then what we think we're going to do is give you a choice between the final options. Now, I'm not saying these are the final 5 options that one can choose from, because we have had requests for other kits, but we need to finalize those options pretty soon so that people can make their choices, so that once everything's been produced, we can send to you the kits that you want. So that's a brief rundown of the counters in Counter Attack. Thank you very much for watching.